And what we've been hearing lately is some alarming news with the bank failures and what's happening, and all of these things we know create fear.
Right.
What do you think about where your money should be? Where should it be going? How should you be using it? How do you invest it? What is safe? Is there anything safe?
And welcome back to 5 Ideas. I'm your host, Joey Nagel, along with Rich Clay. It's a pleasure to meet you. If you don't know who we are, what the show's about, check out episode 1 to learn all about what we talk about here at 5 Ideas and who we are. And today, we're talking in the category of wealth and finance. One of the 5 ideas. And you can check out those 5 ideas in the descriptions on our website, 5ideas.co, along with other resources that we have. And if you're new to the channel and want to keep seeing new content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And today we're talking about wealth.
Wealth and finance.
Where is your money at, and is it safe?
Right. Because each of the 5 categories, the 5 ideas, deals with something that is very important to people, and they're dealing with either positively or negatively. And what we've been hearing lately is some alarming news with the bank failures and what's happening, and all of these things we know create fear.
Right.
So what we're going to talk about today a little bit is, what do you think about where your money should be? Where should it be going? How should you be using it? How do you invest it? What is safe? Is there anything safe?
Is there anything safe? That's a fantastic question.
So it's really interesting to see how different people respond. One of the things notoriously that happens is everybody starts to blame, somebody else.
That's what's happening right now.
Certainly. But we have to take some sense of personal responsibility for what we are doing with our money.
Right.
And there's more than one option than just putting money into savings. There's a lot of different options, and we talk a lot about starting businesses. We talk a lot about generosity and planting seed into different endeavors. Matter of fact, this book that we just finished, and we're going to have more information about this, all the proceeds are going to go to an outreach in Dayton, Ohio, who invests into at-risk young men and literally gives them an opportunity to be entrepreneurs and literally come out of a mindset of lack and into a mindset of prosperity. And the Victory Mission is kicking it, and we're going to give you more about that. But that's where we're putting all of our proceeds to this book.
Yeah, that's an investment, and we dedicated an entire chapter on this. Rich spent some time teaching one of the classes. And if you read in the book, the 5th chapter, it talks all about it. And these young men are minors that had committed some crimes and things that they could have been tried for as adults. And or tried for, had they been adults. And the Victory Project sets them up for success to escape that life. And you said there's been lawyers.
Doctors. I mean, they're raising up professionals, but what we love about it is they have their own businesses. So these kids are operating businesses and understanding business principles, and volunteers come in and teach them high-level principles of success, of leadership, all the things that we're teaching on 5 Ideas.
So all the money from this goes towards that. And so where the money's going from this, it's going to that. And those boys are learning where their money should go. Now, do you know where your money should go? And that's what we're talking about right now.
And I've got a question.
Let's go.
I was thinking about this before. Okay, so Joey's 25.
26.
26, okay. I'm 65, soon to be 66, okay? So let's talk about what was our responses. Okay, my response immediate was like thinking of retirement funds. Are they safe? And, I call my financial advisor, and what about this? What about that? So I'm thinking about a lot of money that I have, whether it's in stocks, the markets, or just IRAs and retirements. Okay. Well, that was my first concern. It was like, okay, the well-being of my quote unquote, because I'm never going to retire, but I have retirement funds. that are going to help me fulfill my vision and, keep me surfing. All right.
Right.
So what's a 26-year-old think when it hears news like that?
I was actually at the gym at like 5:30 running on the treadmill, and I saw it come up on the screen. I'm like, run on the banks. And I immediately thought back to the old, what's that old movie? Do you remember that black and white movie, Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
I'm asking David, who's
Exactly.
22. But we watched that with our parents.
I
thought
pulled
of
you
that.
out, though.
Yeah, right.
The old guy pulled him out.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Rich. But I immediately thought back to that movie. I'm like, is that what's happening right now? And then I'm like, wait. And then I went to immediately started thinking, like, I think the money's safe up to $250,000. But then I'm like, but if everyone takes their money out and everything collapses, my thought was this. I started spiraling about money. But then my thought was, if the banks collapse, we have way bigger problems than money. And so how are we set up to actually survive in an economy where paper money is worthless? I started thinking that. I'm like, if you don't have a house, if you don't have land, if you don't have a way to eat, I'm like, that's what's going to become valuable if an economy ever collapsed. And I thought back to some studies I'd seen on the people who survive economic downturns are people who own businesses and own land because they still have something of value to trade and barter even when paper money can no longer hold value. And so that was my immediate thought. And it may be a little bit different than other people's immediate reactions, but my thought was like not thinking about my cash. It was more thinking about my assets, and my skills, and things that I have that I could trade if money was no longer valuable.
Yeah, I had that thought too, and I thought a little differently. I was thinking because gold is being revitalized, right?
Absolutely.
And the whole precious metals thing.
Yep.
So we're seeing where people are investing into that and getting back into that because it's something concrete that you can hold. So I think that's absolutely right. And I thought about that too. But the other thing that I thought about is mentally, what do we think about when it comes to money? Because if immediately there's a sense of fear, then okay, now probably a little bit of my pastoring's coming out, my theology's coming out, then our whole confidence, we're putting our confidence in, whether it's paper money, precious metals, land, businesses, whatever, we're putting our faith in money, and money, there's nothing wrong with money. Matter of fact, the Bible doesn't say that money is evil.
The love of money.
It says the love of money is the root of the evil. And I'm wondering if what's happening in our world is not so much that systems are failing, but the integrity of people are failing. At the root of most collapses and economic disasters has been a sense of greed, to where lack of integrity is the root. So my mind began to go, what's going on here? Well, now the news is digging up. They're blaming, political parties are blaming each other and all that kind of stuff. And there's probably a lot of things that we'll never know about, but guaranteed, I think there's some failure in the area of integrity and where we're putting our faith.
A wise man told me to control the controllables and not worry about the things that we can't control. That wise man is Rich Clay. But that's been something it's been a mantra for me for the past week. And every time I come to a situation where I want to stress out, but there's nothing I can really do about it, I'm like, what can I control today? So I think you said it in the beginning, like, where are we putting our money? Because I can control the dollars that come into my hands. I don't have to put it in the bank. I could spend it on investing in the markets. I could start a business with it. I could buy gold, like you just said. We could buy animals. We could save for land, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of think it's our responsibility to make sure we're putting our money in a place. Like, we got to do some due diligence. We can't just give it to the bank and be like, everyone puts their money in the bank, so I should put my money in the bank.
Yeah.
Because obviously banks can fail. Banks are businesses.
Yeah.
They take your money and they invest it.
Yeah.
And sometimes those investments go south.
Yeah.
And then they collapse. And guess what? You're out. However, obviously there is the $250,000 of FDIC insurance that you're secured for, yes. However, when a bank collapses and the government has to pay the money back, the government is funded by us. Like, we are the revenue stream of the government. Our taxes are the revenue stream of the government. So when it says the government is insuring your money at the bank, it's really you insuring your own money at the bank. And the government, if they're paying out billions of dollars in account, insurance, it's going to come back to you in taxes.
Yeah.
It has to.
Right. And I'm not a financial consultant.
Neither am I.
I'm a life coach, and I believe in the principle of wealth and no lack. And I teach that. And I teach that to all of my clients, and all of my clients, money is an issue because it takes money to live, right?
That's true.
So, but what I'm going to say about this, because, we're not going to try to dive into what the media's, dissecting.
Put your money in this stock.
Yeah,
no,
right. But I'm gonna once again, I'm gonna shift to kind of a theological thought here, if you will. To this day, the Illinois Institute of Economics states, to this day, the wealthiest man that ever lived was King Solomon.
King Solomon.
Now,
Proverbs, Ecclesiastes,
now,
son of King David.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to draw a parallel here, all right, because of what you just said. I'm building off of what you just said.
All right.
And it's basically, what should we be doing with our money?
Okay.
Right? When young Solomon was getting ready to take the throne.
And he was like a teenager
He
still?
was a youngin'. But God asked him, what do you want from me? And I want you to listen to Solomon. Solomon's answer was not riches. He didn't say, I want to be the richest man that ever lived. But to this day, far exceeds Bill Gates, any of these people. Wealthiest man. He said to God, he said, I want wisdom. Grant me wisdom so that I can rightly lead this nation that you've given me charge over. You know what God's answer to him was this: because you've asked for wisdom, I'll give you long life and riches. All I'm saying is, because we're not financial experts, we don't know what goes behind closed doors, but what we are saying because these are coaching sessions that we bring to our YouTube followers, is that there's a wisdom that we can draw from. And James says, if you don't have it, ask God, who gives liberally and generously.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is walk in wisdom, and I believe that that's better than FDIC. I think that's insurance for the long haul, is walking in wisdom and saying, it's not my money to start with. God gave it to me. God, what do you want me to do with it?
Think about it. You didn't enter into this world by your own choice. You came into this world. You didn't choose your circumstances that you came into. You didn't make yourself. You didn't give yourself. I mean, yeah, there's some things that you can kind of somewhat take credit for. Like, yeah, you got your job. You maybe studied a degree, whatever. But all of those things, everything has been set up. And wisdom allows you to utilize what is out there. And it allows you to, wisdom would allow you to use money as a tool, not as your source of joy and happiness. Wisdom would afford you the ability to utilize that money and put it into something that will last for the long term. and seeking wisdom, because wisdom is simply knowing how to make the right decisions.
Wisdom is actually knowing what to do. What do I do? When do I do it? Where do I do it? Who do I do it with? It is answering those questions. And for our viewers, we're just saying, I think there is a wisdom that can help us and protect us with this resource called money that's been given by God.
So some ideas that are coming to my head of wisdom. Wisdom could be, if I own land and I build a house and I have some animals and I have some food and I have some self-sustaining things that the earth has created, or that the Lord has created inside of the earth, if I put my money into some things that really can't be affected. So I'm thinking, if I put my money in things that I have more and more and more control over, and the government and outside forces and authorities have less and less and less control over, I can set myself up for a pretty successful future. I don't know what those things are to everybody. I'm not a financial expert. But if I have a business I can control, as we talked about, when prices inflate, we can inflate with inflation. If I have a land and a house that I own, the bank can't come take it away when times get hard, and I have a place for my family to live. So applying this principle of wisdom.
Right. You're exactly right, because everyone knows, this is no secret. We already know that there's a fatal flaw in the banking system.
Yep.
You know, listen to Robert Kiyosaki. He will tell you all about that. So there is a fatal flaw. So you're at risk, whether that insurance is there. There is a risk. So you're right, Joey.
Yeah.
When you bring it back into your hands so that you can use the wisdom that God's given you.
Love it.
To know what to do with it, less opportunity for there to be.
The big ideas I'm taking away that hit all of our categories, faith and spirituality. Well, most of our categories. Faith and spirituality. Ask the one who gives wisdom for wisdom. Ask God, Jesus. Ask the Lord for wisdom. That's where wisdom comes from.
Yes.
Then, control the controllables. What you can control, control. Don't enslave yourselves to a system in which you can't control. Don't be a slave.
I like that word.
Don't be a slave to the bank. Don't be a slave to the land. Don't be a slave to your house. Don't be a slave to your car.
Don't give up all your rights.
Don't give up all your rights. Don't settle for a monthly payment that you can afford, that you really can't afford.
Yeah.
Just think about those things, apply these principles of wisdom, and make sure you're taking control of your own wealth and your own money, and you're seeking wisdom from the one who provides wisdom. And with that, we thank you for joining us on this episode of 5 Ideas. Grow your wealth, and we'll see you in the next one.